Hello, everybody. Welcome to Wrestleview Live number 115. It's been a while, but we are back. I am Mike Tedesco. That's Roy Nemmer, who recaps SmackDown for us, and our diligent, dutiful news reporter, Jerome Weiland, who also recaps AEW Collision, except for tonight because he had to watch SummerSlam because we had him on the show.
Yes, and shout out to Alex for recapping Collision for me tonight so I could be here.
Indeed, yes. Indeed. Was it a good show? I mean, it got a lot of So we were cross tweeting on. Is it tweeting anymore? I don't even know. Is it Xing? I don't.
I'd stick to tweeting over Xing.
Yeah, I don't know.
If I'm Xing, like one day my wife's gonna come into the room and hear me talking. Oh, I was just Xing with Roy Nemmer, and she's gonna be like, "What are you doing with Roy Nemmer?"
Yeah.
It's
better. I'm not sure what would be worse, Roy Nemmer or another female's name.
Yeah. I just got into this X exchange with Becky Lynch. And,
oh boy. Yeah.
Poor Seth Rollins all of a sudden, So I don't know. But anyway, it seemed like it was getting a lot of play on Twitter X.
Yeah.
A lot of people were interested. I know they had Ricky the Dragon Steamboat on the show tonight. They had FTR Bucks, like something happened, and it seemed like a good show.
Yeah, it looks like next week they're doing CM Punk and FTR challenging House of Black for the trios title, so it should be a good show next week.
Yeah, you're in for a good one. So far, they've kept their promise about AEW Collision, and it seems like it's they just had one in Newark, I think, about 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. That was I heard that was just an excellent show from a lot of my friends that went there.
It feels like Monday Nitro. It just feels like Monday Nitro to me. The way it flows, the way they do it. It feels it's just a throwback for me. I really like it.
Yeah, like Monday Nitro when it was good.
Yeah.
It's important.
When Monday Nitro was good, right?
Yes, it's important to note that we're talking about Monday Nitro like 96, 97 maybe.
Yes.
2000.
Yeah. Certainly not 99, 2000 for sure.
No.
But that's good. You know why? Because I like when wrestling is, and that's kind of like what we saw tonight on SummerSlam too. Like a couple times I caught myself. I was like, this is such a good variety show. Like you get a whole bunch of different styles. You get a whole bunch of different flavors in your matches. You get, they start off with Logan Paul and Ricochet, and that's a high flying back and forth kind of spotty match, but really quite good. You get the MMA rules match. You have just classic straight wrestling with Gunther and Drew McIntyre. You have storytelling with Reigns and Jey Uso in the main event. Good stuff. That's wrestling at its best, and AEW kind of does the same thing where they present you with a whole bunch of different. Oh, bye, Joe. They've presented us with a whole bunch. There he is. We present us with a whole bunch of different styles and different looks at different types of professional wrestling. I think that's wrestling when it's done best.
There was a little bit of everything for everyone tonight, I think, at SummerSlam.
Yeah. And this SummerSlam show, which is what we're on to talk about SummerSlam tonight, not AEW Collision, but it looks like that was a worthy counter promotion to SummerSlam tonight, even though they're just on Saturday. They weren't really counter programming; they just happened to exist at that time. It's not like when they did Fyter Fest in 2019, and all of a sudden WWE Network started promoting some Evolve show or something like that. That was deeply weird. So anyway, I needed some good wrestling today. It's been a hell of a couple days. So let's talk about some good wrestling here. So with SummerSlam live from Detroit, Michigan, let's start off. What the hell? Let's start off with Jerome. What was your favorite thing from SummerSlam tonight?
The commentary team and the fans.
Oh yeah,
Corey Graves was over the top great tonight. I mean, I haven't really been a fan of his in the past, but the way he's being produced, he is great. I really like the way he's come along. And Michael Cole is it's all organic to me. It's very authentic. It's very organic. The fans were wild, so that was my favorite thing throughout the night was just the commentary team and the fans. It was great all around.
Well, the commentary team got a big upgrade tonight, and it seemed like they were kind of given a little new life here a little bit.
Yes.
Everybody seemed to be speaking and commentating with a different with a different energy, Roy. Basically, what's happening is they're flipping teams. So Michael Cole and Wade Barrett will be the commentators for Monday Night Raw. And then on SmackDown, Michael Cole still stays on SmackDown because he is the voice of WWE, and people thought that for years, including myself, but he is worthy of that title. He deserves that title. He is especially now that they took the Vince thing off, where he's not there every week screaming into his headset. Michael Cole has emerged as an absolutely phenomenal play-by-play guy, phenomenal voice for WWE. So, they I guess they called it in 1997 when they hired him. They knew what they were doing.
And he's only missed 2 shows.
Yeah, and he's moving over to Smack. He's still not moving over. He's staying on SmackDown as well. So he's doing 2 shows now, and he's going to be with Kevin Patrick and Corey Graves, trying to help Kevin Patrick be better. Roy, I've dealt with Kevin Patrick 3 hours. You only have to deal with him 2. Okay.
I'll say this in a positive way, in a positive light. I know he gets a lot of stick. I don't mind him, probably because I'm used to him from the soccer aspect. Whenever I watch MLS games, he would commentate, and he is good at it. He's good at what he does. It's a different realm, it's a different sport altogether, and it takes a while. But he's been doing it for a year, if that. So
no. You know what? I guess so. Yeah, I guess it's been a year. You're right. I think a little over a year. Yeah, because Jimmy Smith was the commentator for the Hell in a Cell match with Cody and Seth, and he was fired pretty much right after that.
Yeah. So it's just been barely over a year. Was it?
For just a year, and you know what? Learning alongside Michael Cole, I think it's going to be a good thing. I don't mind having him on SmackDown. Let's put it that way. So it's a win for both of us.
Yeah, you think about guys that they had in the past that kind of worked with Michael Cole a little bit, like behind the scenes, I still think, I cannot believe that they kind of did away with Tom Phillips, who's now Tom Hannafan, I think.
Yes, he and Aiden English. Well, it's Matthew Renwalt is his real name. They're the commentary team for Impact Wrestling.
Yeah. I thought Tom Phillips was phenomenal. I couldn't believe when they actually cut him, but he had started off kind of rough, and really I think I know Michael Cole took him under his wing and really built him up into this really great commentator. It doesn't work with everybody. It didn't work with Matt Stryker. It's no. Is he still commentating, by the way? Matt Stryker, is he still around? Is that a name that's wow?
He is.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's around anymore doing anything.
It's for the best. He was good for 6 months, I think. I remember. And
he was the play-by-play guy for Impact, and then they let him go, and that's when they brought in Tom Phillips, or now Tom Hannafan. And Tom's great on Impact. I enjoy him when I watch Impact.
Yeah, I know when you can see it. I don't even know how to. I know I don't have access to it.
Yeah, I do. I have Access TV, so I catch it when I can.
He's apparently he's not doing. He's currently the co-host of the Bettor's Eye on the MLB Network. Wow, he's doing something.
All right.
That's what it says on Wikipedia. They might be lying. Now let's talk about the crowd. The crowd was, oh my God,
they were super hot.
When Cody Rhodes came out and Brock Lesnar came out, I was watching that match and I was like, wow, this show flew by. I can't believe the main event's already happening. Because it was that kind of feel from the crowd. That was only the second match on the card. This crowd was outrageous for most of it, but I think they kind of burned themselves out on Cody and Brock for a little while. Jerome, what were some points that stood out for you with the crowd?
I thought they were flat for the Baszler Rousey match, which was sloppy. They just didn't seem like they were into it. They were I think they were sitting on their hands for most of that match.
No, we lost Roy.
I'm
going to be in the minority tonight. I think I really liked the Baszler Rousey match. I thought they actually had a really good. It was different. People sat on their hands. I think they didn't know what to make of it. They didn't really know what they were watching. But in terms of a worked MMA match, they did pretty good, and I liked the technical submission of the TKO right at the end. It was kind of surprising with Ronda.
Now we lost Mike.
Now we lost Mike.
Oh boy. Having some technical difficulties. We are live, so these things do
there
happen.
he is. I think he's coming back on now.
I don't know.
Mike's
Can you hear me?
We could hear you. Can't see you just yet.
We can't see you.
Roy, you're spreading the bad juju to me here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, maybe it's the thunderstorms and lightning. Lowland lightning we've been having. I'm passing it along to the East Coast, I guess, maybe, and it's knocking everybody out.
I'm gonna keep trying. I'll be
Possibly. Yeah, no problem. No problem. But yeah, no, and as Michael was saying, just about the crowd, and it was so easy. They really could have easily burnt themselves out by the time the last match took place, and there was so much to enjoy tonight, so much to cheer, there was so much to just be invested in. It was a great show. I loved it. We'll wait till Mike comes back before really getting into it a lot more. But I just want to say hello, everybody. Hello in the chat. Good. I want to say good morning at this point. It's 1 a.m. on the East Coast. Like, good evening, good night, good morning. I'm not quite sure. But just want to say hello to everybody. I see Daniel in there. I see Quentin Walters. Nafis is in there. Gurash Uriza talking about. See, this is when Mike just got cut. It was MMA like, but had weird moments of stoppage for no reason. And talking about stoppage for no reason, we got Mike back.
I don't know. That's the second time this happened on StreamYard tonight. I don't know what the hell's going on here.
Yeah,
we'll see. We might have to switch.
Yeah. But I get the understanding. I get like the stoppage and stuff like that. But I think they're trying to she gets rocked with the kick to the head, and she's kind of stumbling around. The referee's checking for her safety. Shayna Baszler gets pulled out of the ring, lands on her arm. They stop that, check for her safety. That's kind of what they do in those type of matches. Mm-hmm. But it's brand new for the WWE audience. Most people just watch wrestling. They're not exposed to. They're just not exposed to actual legitimate fighting. Not that this was a legitimate fight, but they went out of their way to try to make it as legit as possible. Anyway, so they were kind of weird during that moment, but for the most part, I mean, the crowd was super hot. I mean, my God, when Io Sky cashed in Money in the Bank tonight, wow,
that's massive. The crowd went apeshit. They really did, and we needed that. We absolutely needed that, especially after the cash in that didn't happen with Damian Priest. That was. Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit, but the crowd was that hot for those guys.
Well, especially after that triple threat match, which until up to that point was the longest match on the card, and it was horrible. I'm sorry, there's no other way to put it. It was just awful. It really kind of saved that entire moment there. It was really very bad. Very bad. Roy, what was your favorite part of SummerSlam tonight, my friend?
My favorite part was I didn't feel like there was a dull match on the card, if that makes any sense. Like there wasn't, a bathroom break match or a match where I'm really not interested in this. It felt like every match from beginning to end had some meaning. They had done well, tried to build it up. The MMA match, I was on the fence about it. I still kind of am, but just in general, it was like you started off with Logan and Ricochet. That got the crowd going. Then you went with Lesnar. Then you had was it Gunther and Drew, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And it just kept going and building up. And it was never a dull moment, never a dull match, so to speak. And I'm happy that a lot of the matches got cut or didn't make SummerSlam. Rhea, Raquel, Becky, Trish, just because it would have been a bit overkill.
Well, those were the bathroom break matches that I think you were just talking about, and I'm sorry, there's no other way to put it. The Becky versus Trish storyline has been awful. It's not good. I thought they had a decent match at Night of Champions, but my God, Night of Champions was like back in May, and this thing's still going on with not a lot of excitement. Becky Lynch, there's some I know. We're gonna try to get post Raw, going again now that the baby's 6 months, and she's kind of starting to get under control. Except she's starting to teeth again now, so that's kind of upsetting our sleep patterns here. But
done that.
Oh yeah, it's my second go now too, and it's a little harder than the first one. It's I don't know why it is. Maybe I'm older, I don't know, but there's something wrong with Becky Lynch. She has not been good since before she was pregnant. She had kind of jumped the shark, then she came back and has been kind of doing that same jump in the shark gimmick, and it's just it's like her segments are really rough to watch. It's like really cringe, and they keep putting her at like the top of the hour and stuff like that. Sorry, that match was a bathroom break, and it didn't need to be on the show. And it kind of shows you, the way that, especially now that Vince is on pain meds and has spinal surgery and is away again, that like Triple H got to design this card from top to bottom a little bit. It shows you that you never need a cool down match. Right. There's no reason to ever do a cool down match. It's such a ridiculous notion that ever needed to happen in the first place. And it just makes the show a lot easier to watch. Like if Vince was booking the show, like think about like 2 years ago when they were in Las Vegas or wherever, close to Las Vegas, Sunshine, Nevada, or whatever it is, in that big stadium. Paradise, yeah. In that big stadium for SummerSlam with Reigns and John Cena. Before the main event, they sent out like the New Day with super soakers to cool the crowd down.
Yeah.
It's like, Vince would have had like some BS stupid. So glad that it's kind of gotten like closer to like what wrestling should be. Tonight, this was a really well put together card. I also liked this little nod to the importance of championships, where Logan Paul and Ricochet were first, and they got all of the non-title matches out of the way first, and then it was the title matches, which in theory should technically have more of a luster. So they did Logan Paul and Ricochet, then they did Cody and Brock, which was not for a title, then they did the Slim Jim Battle Royal, then they did the MMA rules match, and then after that the next 4 became 5 matches were all for titles. So it puts importance on the titles, like little subtle nods to making these props seem a little more important than they have in the past. Like the women's title match would be the cool down match or something like that back in the day. Now it's like, these are titles. These are all important in theory, and if you want to draw ratings and draw viewership and have people consume the content online, for these titles, they should all be equally important. So I thought that was a really, really smart move too. I don't know if that was on purpose, but that's just something I noticed. I was like, wow, they all, look at this. Look at how this was built.
They're trying to give importance back to the titles, which it's going to take them a bit of time, but today was a good start.
I would argue that they're kind of like winning that battle already, with longer title reigns, even though I think we'll talk about the Roman Reigns match in a little bit, where it's, I'm proven wrong every single time I say it, but it like tonight, it really, truly, truly felt like it has gone on a little too long now. It truly, truly felt that way. But, I've been proven wrong in the past. But like, Bianca Belair, when it was the Raw Women's Championship, held that title for over a year. So when Asuka beat her at Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia, I was legitimately shocked. Like that was a moment. Like instead of just like being like this, like, Asuka's a champion again, whatever. It's because it was a year long. Like it felt really important. Sometimes those pinfalls take a little more especially if they can drag you in the match. Now, if they don't drag you into the match like they did with the main event, there was not one point in the main event where I was ever like, wow, Jey Uso's going to win. I can't believe this. I never, ever got to that point. Not once, not ever. Then it becomes a long thing, and you're like, just have Reigns win and get this over with.
Yeah. Just kind of have Solo interfere or whoever else you're going to get, and just, like you said, just get it over with. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that now or if you want to leave it for later, but it feels like, yes, today it was almost like it's like any reason, any excuse, somehow, some way they got to keep the belt on Roman. It's like, hey, we're going to have this singles feud now between Jey and Jimmy, and Roman's going to keep the title. Yeah, it's gone on a little too long for me at this point, but like you have been proven wrong in the past, so.
Yeah, and honestly, you talk about something that's gone on for too long. It's been a while since we've seen a Universal Championship match at all. The last one that was televised was the main event of WrestleMania. That's the last time the title was defended against Cody Rhodes. So it's been over 4 months since we've seen a televised Universal Championship match. And it was basically every single Universal Championship match you've ever seen. The whole the whole concept of tribal combat.
Yeah.
Didn't really get it. It didn't feel any different than any other match.
Yeah. The only way, like, if they would have done, well, guys, it's tribal combat, that means like there's no interference, right? Solo's barred from ringside, Heyman, whatever. Then to a certain degree, you think, okay, but it was essentially a no DQ match, and like you said, it was every single Universal Championship match for the past 3 years, where an Uso's going to interfere at the end, and that's that. And
literally, an Uso did interfere at the end.
yeah, it's that.
Yeah.
It's that. It's it just gets a little bit too much, but I mean, we'll see where they go from here.
Yeah. Jerome, so I'll give my thoughts on the main event after, but Jerome, what were your thoughts on the main event, this whole bloodline storyline, the tribal combat, Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso now? Where are you at on this? 3 years, it'll be 3 years, I think, at the end of the month of Reigns' Universal title reign.
Yeah, it's gone on too long. This was a total dusty finish tonight. I was expecting some screw job finish. I suspected that probably Jimmy Uso was going to come in and interfere, or somebody, because Roman just can't win clean. They just can't have him win clean. They have to have some type of interference for him to keep the title. And I think he's going to hold it till WrestleMania 40. I think they're just going to go out another year with it. And or 100%. I'll be in some retirement home wondering who this Alex is texting me, and I'm trying to figure out when it's time to recap Shotgun Saturday Night, because I've got dementia or something going on. I mean, this is ridiculous.
I know it's yeah, I kind of got that feeling at WrestleMania when he pinned Cody. I was like, wow, well, we got to wait another year now for this to happen, because they're absolutely not going to have this title run go on, for as long as it does, and then end it at WWE Payback in Pittsburgh. It's just not going to happen.
No, I think the ship sailed for Cody for this title. Maybe the world title with Seth. I think probably he'll have that title eventually. Maybe, I don't know.
The title that finishes the story is the WWE Championship, and that is part of his undisputed Universal Championship.
I know it.
And he did say, he said on the press conference tonight, because they were asked what's next for your character. He said, well, now that I've gone through this thing with Brock Lesnar, the kind of hard times kind of storyline thing, I want to find myself back in that same situation I was in earlier this year, with the same exact opponent, and change that outcome.
Yeah, I just don't see him changing the title at Survivor Series. I think they're going to wait.
No. It has to be WrestleMania, and I think he's going to. It'll probably be. It very well could be Cody versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania again this year.
Yeah,
and we'll see what happens.
And the thing is, tonight, and I get maybe Jey is not the guy they wanted to, but after WrestleMania, when they held the press conference, Roman was talking, and he was talking about the whole bloodline and the family and how people are not understanding the storyline. And it actually got me thinking, is it going to be Jey that might end up taking the title off him? Because the impression that I got was that's how he was pushing it. It's going to stay within the family. Who's going to take over the tribal chief? So tonight, I had a 1% or 2% kind of hope.
Wow.
Okay, maybe. Because or else, like you guys said, it's going till WrestleMania again. Who is he going to feud with? That's the big problem right now. Bronson Reed? Braun Breaker? Who?
Yeah, I'm trying to think who on SmackDown is really worthy. I mean, it's that's the thing. I think they would take great pleasure in feeding LA Knight to him. For whatever reason, even though he won the Battle Royal tonight, the Slim Jim Battle Royal, and the commentators did a good job of putting him over. Yes. They made it seem like it was a big deal. LA Knight finally got a defining victory and this and that. It just felt like they were kind of forced into that one. I don't know what they have with this guy, especially the pops are undeniable when he came out tonight, and when he hit that damn elbow drop, it was outrageous. The level of audio that was pumping through from the crowd, it was ridiculous. That's undeniable. It's every town. It's in a diverse groupings of towns. It's in London. It's in Los Angeles. It's in New York. It's in Detroit. It's in Texas. It's in Florida. Everybody is excited about this guy. except for Kevin Nash apparently, but who cares? He also missed out on Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah.
It's undeniable at this point. I'm not saying that he's the guy that uncrowns Roman Reigns, but
No, but unless they do something where maybe he's the one that gets the belt off Gunther, and then you have Gunther feud with Roman, and you do that going into the Rumble. I'm just trying to think of ideas at this point.
Yeah.
Because you got to do
Yeah.
something. Yeah. Actually, no, that won't work because Gunther's on Raw. So
Right. Well,
maybe Austin Theory.
so is the Judgment Day, but I'm pretty sure the last SmackDown I recapped had Dominic Mysterio, wrestling on the show. It's like the brand extension is, happens when they feel like
when it's convenient for them.
When it's convenient. I don't know. It's so deeply weird. I mean, I get it. Obviously it does allow you to feature more people, but it's still, I don't know. I still hate it. I still despise it, to be honest with you. But whatever. That ship has sailed. Yeah. Going back to the Reigns and Cody, I'm sorry, Reigns and Jey situation. Yeah. I am so proud of you, Roy. I am so happy for you that you were able to at least have 1% of a suspension of disbelief there. I had 0. Like, it's so crazy. Like, the match started and I was just like, it's just, when is it going to happen? It's like I think I read somewhere they started making their entrances. I didn't check at the time, and that was stupid of me. But combined between Jey and Roman, 15 minutes of entrances, then a 36-minute match, and a 5-minute aftermath. That's a long ass time.
Yeah. Only to get slapped in the face at the end again.
Yeah. Only to see like the same match over and over again. The ungodly amount of interference, the ungodly amount of stalling, the ungodly amount of, we have to tell the story, so I'm going to shout some things to you that, honestly, if you're in the crowd, it's going to be boring as hell to watch.
Oh yeah.
You can't hear what he's saying.
Yeah. And at the same time, not only that, it's also, I mean, we're talking about the interference. Why doesn't Solo just come out with Roman from the get-go? Like, what are they planning on keeping it a surprise? Even the commentators, even Cole mentioned it. He said, like, oh yeah, this is what we're used to with Roman Reigns. And that's your commentator saying that. It's Daniel almost fell asleep. Nafis, the crowd didn't let down still. That's a testament to the crowd.
That's because Daniel's antipsychotics kicked in, but sorry, Daniel. I'm kidding with you. Yeah, no, but you know what? Like, Michael Cole said some of the quiet parts out loud tonight. He also said, at the end of the Logan Paul Ricochet match, he goes, that was a great match, but that ending sucked. I was like, yeah, you know what? Kind of did. That was a really crappy ending.
Yeah. And that was, and I get it. It was crappy, but it was kind of like, do you have Ricochet get beaten clean by Logan Paul? Or do you have Ricochet beat Logan Paul? And when was the last time Logan Paul won a match?
Yeah, he hasn't won a match since I think SummerSlam last year against The Miz.
Yeah. So they had to give this to Logan, and
no question.
It just wasn't the best way to finish it. And the question is this feud over with now?
Oh, I think it goes to Payback.
Yeah.
I wonder if it goes to Payback, or if it goes, or if they try to stretch it out a little longer. Maybe I don't know. I think they're doing another Saudi show in October or something like that.
Well, they have the Logan Paul and even Lesnar in the Payback commercial.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we'll see Lesnar. That was that seemed like he was going away for a little bit, but Logan Paul actually, amazingly enough, skipping ahead a little bit, Logan Paul competed in the first match, had a real banger against Ricochet. And I got to tell you, like, even though I did think that ending was kind of just like, oh, it was so lazy, it's like, of all the people that he could beat clean, especially with, he already has the titanium fist, as they say, he could have easily just knocked out Ricochet, which just by doing with that. Instead, they had him get loaded up with brass knucks. I just thought it was like so strange, but you cannot understate. And Roy, you saw it on Monday. The reaction that Ricochet got. I caught that before I went out to dinner. Massive. I was on vacation initially this week. Massive, like you just said. It cannot be understated enough how good Logan Paul is, number one. Freaking 6 matches. I think this was his 6th match that he's had so far. or maybe his 7th. I can't remember what it is. It was the tag match at WrestleMania, The Miz, Roman Reigns, Royal Rumble. Oh yeah, Seth Rollins. That's 5. The Money in the Bank, and now this. So this is 7th match.
Yeah, but 7. How many of them are actually singles, right?
Right. The last one was Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal professional wrestler. I'm sorry. 7 matches. He's done more for Ricochet's career than Ricochet's done since he debuted on the main roster in 2019. Yeah. This is the most. This is the biggest Ricochet's ever been.
By far, easy, and he's so. Like if you look at Logan Paul's facial expressions, right, especially at the start of the match, like he gets knocked down, he rolls to the outside, he plays that heel roll of okay, I'm just going to regroup. I don't want to say psychology, but just his way of seeing wrestling, his way of understanding it. For someone that's had 6 or 7 matches, that's incredible. That's incredible. He's the ultimate heel right now, along with Dominic Mysterio. And he's a natural heel. People legit hate him. So, which makes it even
Which one, Dom or Logan?
Actually, both. But I'd say a lot of people hate Dom because they're not him in terms of the Rhea Ripley, and a lot of people just dislike. You're married. And a lot of people dislike Logan Paul. No, I'm just messing with you. But no, it was a great match to fire up the crowd as well. Like the responsibility they had on their shoulders to kick off SummerSlam.
Right. And the amazing thing was, after this match, he hopped on a plane. He was at the American Airlines arena to watch Jake Paul have his match tonight. He was there for the boxing match.
Wow.
Like they showed him getting off the plane in his gear. He was still in his SummerSlam gear as I think he walked Jake to the ring.
Oh wow.
That's crazy.
And I just saw the results of that fight.
Who won?
It says top stories, boxing. Jake Paul beats Nate Diaz.
Of course. Wow.
Yeah. Well,
probably wasn't a great thing. Probably wasn't a great boxing match, but
no.
That's still a big win for him. It shows. I mean, that guy has had quite a rise. You know what? I got to say, Jake and Logan are both. You know, I didn't think much of Logan Paul at all. You know, before he was at WWE, I couldn't stand the sound of his name. I thought he was just scum. I don't know. I just did. But they have really risen from their days on Vine and in the Suicide Forest in Japan, and really have staked a claim in sports entertainment and legitimate sports itself.
Yeah. No, they're smart. Say what you will, but they're smart.
They are, and it's kind of annoying. I don't know why I can't be that smart. But man, that was a really, there was that spot with the Spanish Fly, and even though they kind of landed on their knees a little bit off the apron, that was to execute that as a guy who is in his 7th match with a guy as good as Ricochet. Wow, he stepped up in such a big way, and like you said, Roy, he didn't take anything away from Ricochet in this match. He put him over with his facial expressions. Like, the guy gets professional wrestling. He really, truly gets it. And I love those spots also of when Ricochet did the people's elbow and Logan Paul did the Hogan Paul was great.
The leg drop, yeah.
He did a split-legged leg drop. It was crazy. He did a really good job. Obviously it's going to be in the follow-up. It's always in the follow-up, but he did Ricochet a huge service tonight. Oh, yeah. Now it's on Triple H and heavily medicated Vince McMahon to keep him over. We'll see what happens. But I got to say, Samantha Irvin was awesome in this too.
Yeah, they put up a video on Instagram, WWE did, of her announcing Logan Paul as the winner, and her facial expressions were solid. They were spot on. She plays it very well.
I gotta say, Ricochet, he leveled up. He did. He's an alright looking guy, but she's that's better than I thought. Better than I thought he could do. Better than I thought. I don't know. Who am I to judge? I'm also a guy who leveled up. What can I say?
There you go.
Anyway, Yeah, I just hope that, after Vince is off pain medication, I hope they do another search of his house and just keep him busy, keep him away from this show, because this was a good show tonight without him. I have to say, it was very good. All right, now I guess I pick my favorite thing. It was Cody and Brock. How about that? The second match on the show.
Right.
God dang, that was such a good match. Oh my God. Cody Rhodes came out. I haven't heard a pop like that for a face since Daniel Bryan, I guess. I mean, like, not for somebody not named John Cena. How about that?
Right. Yeah.
For somebody not named John Cena, that the level of love that he got from the crowd, the level of love that he gets every week from the crowd. Now it's Jerome's turn. It's Jerome's turn.
Now it's Jerome. Third time is the charm.
The level of love that he got from the crowd is just like they are behind everything he does, and there's nobody like booing just to be ironic and go against the grain. People are legitimately into him. Like it's the promos, it's the presentation, the whole thing is just friggin' awesome. And Brock Lesnar played this heel role so damn well. So damn well.
He on the topic of Lesnar, you want to talk about someone that gets it.
I mean, my God. It's
wow.
I don't ever want to hear that Brock Lesnar's lazy and doesn't know how to wrestle or anything like that. Brock Lesnar, is easily one of the best professional wrestlers of the modern era. By far.
Yeah, it's not even up for debate.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I'll say that for any promotion, it's like a lot of people are like, oh well, he's the best in modern times in WWE. No, he's the best anywhere.
Yeah,
he gets it.
Yeah, his facial expressions, he knows how to bum, everything. He moves. And the crazy thing about him is he's a 1-in-1. Like he could legit kill somebody. You know what I mean? Like his promo on Raw, he starts off by saying, "I'm an NCAA champion. I'm a former UFC heavyweight champion. I'm a WWE heavyweight champion." In other words, I could kill you if I want to. And he plays that very well. And he came back SummerSlam 2000, was it 2012 or 2014? I can't remember.
He came back the night after WrestleMania in 2012.
Sorry, 2012. Sorry, after WrestleMania, then he destroyed Cena. 2 years later, and then the whole Taker. He's been for 11 years. He's been on top. He's been on top
in everything he's done. Yes.
Yeah. And
there was like a brief time, where it was like, okay, Brock Lesnar's like starting to wind down. It was like after he can't challenge for the Undisputed Universal title anymore because that was a stipulation they put in the SummerSlam match last year.
Right.
So it's like, well, what does a Brock Lesnar do if he has like no purpose anymore? And like, when he was facing Omos,
oh gosh,
I have to go back and look and check to see if I said that was like, this might be Brock Lesnar's swan song in WWE. Like he might just do like one more victory lap. And instead, Brock Lesnar has freaking reinvented himself again. And he, for all those times that people are like, oh, he doesn't like to work. He hates this product. He's just here to collect a paycheck and this and that. He worked way more in this feud with Cody Rhodes and gave way more in this feud with Cody Rhodes than he has at any point in the last, I would say, they started doing that stupid thing with him doing like the 1 minute matches in like started like 2017, 2018,
18,
because they wanted to be a heel. So when Roman Reigns beat him, they would have to cheer Roman Reigns at that point because they were still having trouble getting people to cheer him. And it worked largely, but it also really damaged, Brock's reputation in a way, because people can't disassociate fantasy from reality. This whole thing was kind of a way for him to also show like, you think I can't work a long match? You think I can't tell a story in my match? You think it's all just, thrown around in this? He was freaking awesome in this match tonight. They made countouts exciting. When he was screaming, "Stay down for your own good." Like, what are you doing?
This is only going to get worse. Stay down.
Yes.
Yeah. He's underrated. He is truly, truly underrated. And if you think he doesn't care, just go watch it. If he doesn't care, he would not have busted himself open like he did at Backlash.
Right.
The hard one.
Gosh, he could do whatever he wants. He has so much money. He doesn't have to be doing this. And for him to like go out there and it was like, you know, Brock Lesnar was showing like he's like this like uber veteran, this uber legend, you know, obviously aura coming out of his ears, legitimacy coming out of his ears as well. And that's a cauliflower ear, so that's pretty legitimate. He went out of his way to like make sure you knew at the end that Cody Rhodes is the guy. And when he raises, like, I've never seen Brock Lesnar do that. You know, not since before he left in 2004.
No,
ever.
I can't. No. And when they were doing it in my head, I'm like, there's no way. They're not going to do a thing where Lesnar attacks him after the match. No, that's stupid. And they didn't, thank God.
Yeah.
Like I said, he gets it.
It was kind of weird though. Like Jerome, I don't know if you saw like how this happened, but like Brock's shorts were completely torn up at the end of the match. And I was like, thank God he chose not to go commando tonight.
Yeah, I saw that. Sorry about the technical difficulties there, and I had to step. I just lost the feed there for a moment, but it's okay. Anyway, I saw when Cody was pinning him that pinned him that the shorts were torn. I was like, oh no, wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah. I could like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
Charlotte almost had one.
Yeah, I saw that with Charlotte too. The referee she was getting something fixed on the back of her outfit.
Yeah, but back to
Andrade was getting all excited, I guess. I
think Charlotte was saying this way.
Oh, she was talking a lot in that match tonight. That was not good.
Oops.
Yeah, but that brought that Brock Cody match. Like, you know, you thought Cody was over before. That just cemented him on another level. That I think, in a weird way, he's way bigger than he was in the main event of WrestleMania.
Yes, because he got that Lesnar rub.
Yeah,
and it's rare that anyone really gets that Lesnar rub.
Right. Because up to that point, you know, I mean, now you think about the Cody Rhodes story. You know, he comes back at WrestleMania. He has 3, you know, featured matches against Seth Rollins, beats him in all 3, right? Then he gets injured, pec torn, gone. Wins the Royal Rumble, comes back. Now he's in the main event of WrestleMania. Doesn't really have to beat anybody at that point. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Now he's expected to win the title. Now they're, you know, instead of doing that, which now, you know, in hindsight, it's always 2020. I remember going on this show and ready to rip my beard out after that WrestleMania show, which in a way we were still kind of right. Even though, you know, they still, you know, got more out of the Bloodline storyline, you know, do they necessarily have to do it with the title? I don't know. But probably not. But you know, the Bloodline segments, you know, especially when he reached 1,000 days and, you know, like there's history being made here and stuff like that. Like, these are some of the highest rated segments on SmackDown still, even though tonight it really felt like a really tired story being told. You know, so, but I still think I was, you know, a little.
Oh, no, we were certainly
at least a little right.
Certainly right, for sure.
But you know, next year, if it turns out again that he winds up, and you know, like I think they should continue on the hard times thing. You know, I think he should get in the Royal Rumble, and I think he should be one of the last people eliminated from the Royal Rumble, and I think he should have to still earn his way to Roman Reigns, you know, for that match. I think at WrestleMania 40, like that, you know, I'm not going to call his shot, but I think if they did Cody versus Roman Part 2, you know, at WrestleMania 40, he's going to be over on a level that he wasn't even over this year, and he was damn over this year too. Yeah. Because more story gets told, and they're telling good stories. These are not cheap stories here.
No, they are, and that would set up Cody Roman 3 at WrestleMania 41.
Oh, please. Actually, you know, I guess you're right. If he can hold the title for a year.
Yeah, Roman goes away, comes back, wins the Rumble. There's WrestleMania 41 main event.
That is actually that's a real possibility. And then they could, you know, well, we'll see. how people like these long title reigns too. It's so weird that they're being so patient with so many titles. Like, I think Gunther is like 32 days or now I think now that past midnight here, 31 days away from breaking the Honky Tonk Man's 35-year record of 454 days. 35 years has been almost as old as me.
And they want to do that.
I know. They want to do it. How long? It's so weird that they're being so patient in a society where it's instant gratification. You don't give me what I want, I'm not going to watch this show ever again. Well, a lot of people have said that quite a few times, and they keep watching, and they're watching in droves. We reported their earnings. A lot of people ignore the earnings. They released their quarter 2 earnings this past Wednesday, where they also revealed that Vince was the SEC, in their SEC filing, that Vince was freaking, had a federal search warrant of his house, and was also on leave of absence, and that he's been subpoenaed to appear before a grand jury. Like, if you're subpoenaed to appear before a grand jury, they have to have something.
Oh yeah, you messed up.
Something's going on. Although they said they didn't find anything at his house, I don't know what they're looking for. But yeah, that's a big deal. But their earnings showed this is the biggest earnings that they've had in any quarter ever. They're just making money hand over fist. They are red hot. So in making people wait longer and telling better stories, kind of makes people excited about your product again.
Yeah.
And remember like last year they put out that press release saying that, well, now that Paul Levesque is in charge, you might expect to see some discernible drops in storytelling and character development without Vince McMahon. That was such wow. That was so weird, Jerome. What do you make of that statement and how they've been proving themselves wrong? They're his own company.
Yep, it's totally been proven wrong. I mean, Triple H is a much better booker, and Vince is so out of touch with the people, and he just needs to stay on pain meds and stay away.
No. I wonder if that was because Stephanie was the CEO at that time. I wonder
she was.
Do you think that maybe that statement was released, or forced to release by some of the Vince cronies that were still left behind?
Yep, I think so.
For
definitely.
Sure.
Yep.
Why else would you say that about your potential new boss, so to speak?
Yep, exactly. Yeah. No,
right. She was the CEO, and she's saying that about her own husband, essentially.
Yeah, I think she was forced to say it. It's probably all script.
It's gotta be. I gotta tell you, it's gotta be a miserable Thanksgiving.
It's gotta be you'd love to be a fly on the wall for that. Oh yeah. Assuming they spend it together.
I don't think they do. Honestly, Vince, there looks like there's something seriously wrong with the guy, and I'm not just saying that now because he is completely out of touch with the product, like Jerome was just saying. That mustache, that hair dye, something is going on in that brain, and there is some atrophying of some neurons there, or something like that. Because a normal man doesn't do that, Jerome.
No, he's trying to make himself younger, and I just think I don't know, something is definitely wrong with him, and I think he's just trying to maybe, I don't know, make himself look more appealing to Endeavor. I don't know. They got to be pulling their hair out right now with Vince. I don't know what they're thinking. Their mind.
Yeah, it's a little concerning, and obviously his marriage with Linda. Even though I don't think they'll ever publicly divorce, but they're not together anymore.
No, I've read that they haven't been together since 2012. I don't know how true that is, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Wow. Starting to make sense. Maybe, and you know what? That's about the time he started getting really, really bad with booking. I wonder if she was his conscience sometimes. Like how everybody said, oh, Vince Russo, the only reason he was ever good was because Vince McMahon was there to stop his worst instincts. I wonder if Linda was there to stop Vince's worst instincts.
Maybe, yeah. Vince, no, you cannot fornicate with Stephanie.
That was weird. That was weird.
Yeah.
You cannot have an incestuous marriage with your daughter, as part of a storyline. That's some weird stuff. This guy's, there's always been something wrong with him, but I don't know. I just want to know, we have to get a doll, and he has to point to where the bad man hurt him at some point, because something has happened to that man. Anyway, getting back to SummerSlam, and we can start to, speed through these things a little bit here. LA Knight, Slim Jim SummerSlam Battle Royal. Roy, it's about damn time.
Yeah, well deserved. No one deserves it better. No one would benefit from it as much as he would anyways. So good for him, and hopefully this actually leads to a proper push.
Yeah. I actually thought this was like one of the better Battle Royals that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. It wasn't choppy, like it flowed. Everyone had something. It's not like we're waiting for this person to do this and then we'll do that.
Yeah. But there was some good drama in there too, like they kind of hid LA Knight for like the first part of the match, and then he kind of pops up. You're like, oh my god, yeah, that's right, LA Knight's still here. But adding Omos, I thought was a really, really smart move in terms of like adding more drama to the match. It's like, oh yeah, like I forgot about Omos. I don't think we've seen Omos since Backlash.
Backlash.
Seth Rollins beat him or something like that.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, Backlash in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, and I think he left to get married, right, Jerome? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he did. He got married shortly after Backlash.
Yeah, so I mean, they gave him a nice long honeymoon, I guess. I don't how nice of WWE. I'd like to be part of their employment package there, I suppose, because I didn't quite get that when I got married.
No, I didn't either.
I know. So that was a really good bit of drama added there, and they told a lot of stories in the match too. Like they kind of kept the thing going with AJ and Karrion Kross, which is really to no one's benefit because that's a horrible feud. Like Roy, I don't know, like it's just so. Karrion Kross, that's another guy who's been back now. He debuted like the SmackDown after SummerSlam. It's been a year. He's done. It's been a very disappointing year.
Yeah, this is one of the guys that maybe Triple H hasn't knocked out of the park, so to speak.
Yeah,
he's clearly one of his boys.
Yeah, it really is, and he wasn't good in NXT. I was not impressed with him in NXT, and you can only polish a turd so much. When they put the Viking helmet on him, it's like, what? That was the most interesting that he's ever been. I was wrong when Vince did that one. I think Vince was on the money there. Cover up his face, damn it! Put a jockstrap on his head. That's the only way you can get character out of this guy, I suppose. But they did a thing. I didn't get to see the match with Chad Gable yet, and I do want to go back and see that the 5-minute challenge that wound up going, like you said. I think you said 15 minutes on Raw, Roy.
Yeah, it went, obviously surpassed the 5, then went to commercial, and then they got another 5 to 10 minutes. Yeah, after that.
Wow. They followed up on Chad Gable big time. Otis got knocked pretty early from that match, but Chad Gable had a couple moments, where he eliminated a lot of people. He eliminated Ludwig Kaiser, with that skinning the cat and all that stuff. He was given a couple moments to shine in this match too. So he was another story that they were trying to push forward in this match. And Sheamus, who made some headlines, just in his last couple days, saying that he's, WWE really dropped the ball with him after Clash at the Castle, and he was kind of pissed about that. He was the last guy eliminated here, and he was given a lot of time to shine too.
Yeah.
This was a really good battle royal where they told a lot of stories here.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was obviously going into it. It was your typical battle royal of, hey, we have nothing for any of these guys, so let's throw them in a match. But they did tell some stories, yeah, and then got some of the guys over too.
Do you think that this is the end of the road for Ronda Rousey, Jerome?
Yes, I do. She has a hard stop on her contract, and I've heard it's after SummerSlam, so I think she's gone. That's why I think that she put over Baszler tonight or last night, depending on what time zone you're in.
Yeah.
I think she's done.
Yeah, I think they were, they're paying her too much, and they weren't getting the returns that they got out of her the first time around.
No.
She just, it never really seemed like her heart was in it this run.
No, I don't think it clicked with her, and she's awful on the mic anyway, and she just doesn't have the mic skills. And I Even the heel run was flat, I think. So, yeah, I think she's done.
Right. You caught a lot of Ronda Rousey's run this second run now. She spent a lot of time on SmackDown. If tonight was her swan song for some time, what did you think? What did you make of this run?
It was poor. It was poor. Even the hype when she came back, it wasn't the same, obviously, as the first time when she showed up. And she never really got going. They didn't know to a certain degree what to do with her. They put her with Shayna, then not with Shayna, then with Shayna. And it's fitting that it ended the way it did, in a way of, well, clearly none of the fans, like no one in the arena or stadium enjoyed the match. There were some boring chants and all that, and in a way it is fitting because her entire second run was essentially boring. It wasn't very fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree with the assessment of both of you guys. Very astute observations. Like when she came back at the Royal Rumble, it was like, oh, cool, Ronda Rousey's back, and then you're like, oh, like I remember early on in the second run, I caught her at a house show. Actually, the first show that I went to, after the whole lockdown, at Madison Square Garden, and it was I forget, it was a tag match. I know Charlotte Flair was involved in it because that's who she was going to be facing at WrestleMania, and I forget the other. She teamed with somebody, and I can't remember who it was, but everything that she did in that match looked horrible. I'm like, because I had seen Ronda Rousey in that first run. I saw her before that Survivor Series debacle where they started booing the hell out of her just because they felt like it. When she won the title from Alexa Bliss at SummerSlam, and then the next night when she put Stephanie in the armbar, it was like, God, she is over like gangbuster. She's like this female Stone Cold. This is amazing. She never recovered from that night when they booed her because, for as much as we talked about just a little while ago, Logan Paul gets it. She doesn't get it. I don't think she understands professional wrestling.
No,
at a deeper level than taking everything personally.
Yeah, she might be a fan. Maybe she actually did watch it growing up.
I think so.
Everything, but yeah, I don't think she gets it, or not nearly as much as Logan Paul, like you said.
Yeah, and I remember like when she won at Royal Rumble, the next night she came out on Raw and she was like all like her like like that kind of face. And I remember hearing the story that she went backstage and Vince is like, "You're a face, you have to act like a face." And she came out on SmackDown and she was all a little happier, but she was still mad that they were booing her and she didn't want to be a heel. I don't think she wanted to be a heel at WrestleMania when she had her first swan song. No. And I don't think her heart was ever in this at any point, and also she had just had a baby in September. Then she came back to the Royal Rumble. She even said herself, I'm physically, I'm not, wasn't ready for this. I just think that her life and her circumstances have changed so much that to travel and be a mother and practice and try to get good at this, because she's not a natural at it, like Brock Lesnar was. Or or Logan Paul, or Bobby Lashley, like people that have real fighting experience. A lot of them turn out to be naturals at this. Kurt Angle, oh God, great example, prime example there. And I just don't think her life matched up with this. I think this should be her swan song. She, gets to go out putting over her friend. That they're friends. They said even said in the video package that Shayna Baszler was one of the first to hold her baby when she was born.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it was, I think it's just best if we just leave it here. If she wants to try again in a couple of years, get her head right, But the name Ronda Rousey, it's, it was big in 2015, 2016. We're a little removed from that. So I think that's. We've seen enough here. Gunther versus Drew McIntyre. Did it live up to the hype? What do you say?
It did, but I'm disappointed.
You were?
Yes.
Okay. Why?
And I was disappointed going into it. I knew it was going to be, to quote Sheamus, a banger. I knew it was going to be a hard-hitting match. I was disappointed going into it because I knew the outcome, Gunther winning, which I'm all for. but it just makes no sense to have Drew come back and lose again to Gunther. So that's what kind of ruined it for me, was the whole Drew aspect of he just came back, you're gonna have him lose again. It makes no sense. But the match itself, it's what you expected, and I mean that in a very good way.
Yes, yeah. Jerome, what did you think of the match?
I thought it was good overall, but like Roy, I expected the outcome with Drew losing because I mean his contract is up in January of 2024, and he hasn't signed a new deal. So why would you put the title on a guy who's potentially going to be gone by the end of the year? So yeah, I think they still want to have Gunther beat Honky Tonk's record. I think they're going for that. So yeah, that's where I'm at with the match. But it was not bad overall.
Yeah, I actually thought it was fantastic. And that's what I was saying before in terms of like, these longer title reigns. Like you have to put them on people that can have good matches. If especially if they're going to hold the title for a long time, they're going to go for records and stuff like that. And you have to put them against good people. That that Drew McIntyre is a great opponent for Gunther. He's gonna give him a banger on a big show, and not really lose any steam from it. Like at the end, it's like Drew gets pushed off, he gets his leg tangled in the rope. That's his out. He can certainly come back from that. But for me, I got pulled into it, and when he hit that Claymore, I was like, oh my god! And then he kicks out. I couldn't believe. I was like, wow, nobody really kicks out of the Claymore. If really hardly ever. I think only Roman Reigns kicks out of the Claymore kick. So that shocked me.
Yeah. No, they did a good job in the match. They absolutely did a good job in the match. And at one point, I even thought, well, am I going to be wrong? Are they actually going to put the belt on Roman and then have Gunther go on and do other things? But it was solid, man. These guys, Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew, those three, they know how to put on matches. If you go back to last September or it's in Wales, and then you go back to WrestleMania, the Triple Threat, they know what to do. They're hard hitting, and they get it. They absolutely get it.
Yeah. So again, these matches actually might become polarizing after some time, because it's gonna be like, did you buy into it that they could win? Yeah. Rollins and Balor. Again, I thought like the first 3/4 of the match were good. Was good storytelling. I thought they did a really nice job of Balor really driving home the SummerSlam 2016 thing, making him feel the pain that he felt. I thought the commentators, this is where Jerome, when he said his favorite thing was commentary tonight for this match, they really they made this match even better than they were actually doing it in the ring, in terms of the story they were telling. I thought like the first 3/4 was great. I thought it was a welcome thing that happened, when the Judgment Day came out, because you start getting the cash in feeling, like what's going to happen. That's some good storytelling too. I like drama in a match, but for the first like 3/4, it was a very good professional wrestling match. Old kind of old school in that sense. And they didn't do anything really crazy flashy. It was just, they were just having a very solid, good match, which is, in a way, it's kind of weird. It's like, WWE has 2 Intercontinental Championships, because like, even though it's called the World Heavyweight Championship, to me, there's only one world title in WWE, or 2, if you can, consider that the Universal and WWE title are combined. But, they want this to be like a workhorse title. But Gunther is wearing the workhorse title, in the Intercontinental Championship. So it's like we have 2 Intercontinental titles now. I don't buy into the prestige of this title yet, but they went out of their way to try to make this a good wrestling match, so that so it does add some prestige to the title. Yeah. What did you think of this match, Roy?
I thought it was a good match. I thought, to quote JR, business picked up once the Judgment Day came down. And I think that's what a lot of people were looking forward to, Damian Priest in particular. I thought we would actually get Balor defeating Seth and Priest turning on him, cashing it in right away. That's what I thought we would get. But the match itself, I thought it was solid. I thought it was good. I'm not a fan of Seth Rollins' title run. I just don't think he needs the title. I get why they put it on him, but the sooner they get the belt off him, the better. And that's me being selfish because I hate the chance, the 10-minute chance.
You're really you're leaning into it too.
Yeah, I it's just annoying. It's not one of those things like, haha, it gets a reaction out of you. You want to boo him or you want to cheer him. It's annoying. And again, I've said this in the past. I go to the shows here in the Bell Center in Montreal. So I've taken part in shows where the fans literally take over the show. It's fun for us, probably sucks for people at home. And for me, his chants are probably a bit like that. But anyways, as for the match itself, I thought it was good. Very, very good match.
Yeah. And honestly, like the one thing I really liked about the match was that like Finn Balor controlled so much of it that it kind of pissed the crowd off and they weren't chanting at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I was thinking,
they did well making it seem like he got a chance.
Yeah. And, Corey Graves is like, Finn Balor has done exactly what he needs to do, and he's taken the crowd right out of this match. And I was like, good for Roy. Good for Roy. I was thinking about Roy on that one. Jerome, do you think it's a mistake to eat? For me, I think it's like, I know Damian Priest has to leave the Judgment Day. I know that he has to be out of the Judgment Day in order for this thing to work. I know they want him to be a face at some point.
Yep.
I still think it's a mistake to lean in so hard into the destruction of this faction, because it is the best thing on Raw. It really, really is. And to even tease breaking it up, it's like, I don't want to see them break up. I want to see them go on forever. Like, I know Priest has to go, but like, don't tease the entire thing exploding.
Yeah, I think I like the drama in the match tonight or last night. I thought the drama was great with where we thought we were going to get a tease with maybe Priest cashing in, like Roy said, that Finn was going to win immediately. Priest cashes in, pins Finn. We got another title change. I think eventually Priest's probably going to leave the group and become a babyface. And maybe they'll break. I don't know if they can replace Priest. They might find someone to replace Priest. My crazy fantasy booking mind goes, maybe eventually they'll just pull the trigger and Rey Mysterio will join with his son and be a heel. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. But it's just my fantasy brain booking going on. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's never going to happen. But
if you think about it, Damian Priest is the one that knocked Edge out of the Judgment Day, so he should be the next one knocked out. Like who on the Raw roster or even the SmackDown roster? I know you have your mad scientist hat on right now, Jerome, with Rey Mysterio, but like Edge, said that he wanted to create the Judgment Day to raise up some young stars that kind of haven't gotten a chance. And I'm going to ask Jerome, I'm going to ask Roy this question. So Jerome, who on Raw do you think could benefit from a Judgment Day rub?
I have no idea. I really don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure if there's anyone at this point yet.
Yeah, anybody deserving at least.
Yeah, unless they think of somebody from NXT that they want to bring up, but I don't know at that point or at this point if there's anyone from NXT that would benefit from it, because Judgment Day's been on NXT for they're doing they're popping ratings on NXT, and maybe eventually they'll find somebody. I don't know.
What if it was Carmelo Hayes?
Could be Carmelo Hayes, maybe. He'd be maybe good.
That'd be a hell of a way to introduce him to the main roster. Have him pick out Damian Priest, but like you probably want to like replace him with somebody who's like big. Like a big dude.
Braun Breaker?
Braun Breaker.
He's big.
He is big. Andrew Elder says J.D. McDonough. But
maybe.
But then you have two Irish guys in it, two guys that kind of look the same with the, Finn Balor's student. I understand that. But, and Quentin Walters also thinks J.D. McDonough is a perfect fit. I had to do a double take. I was like, oh, Jordan Devlin's in the match. I was like, oh, yeah, he's J.D. McDonough. And I don't really care about him. He was in the Battle Royal tonight. Didn't really care. Roy, anybody on SmackDown pop out to you, or do the names that we kind of floated just now kind of resonate with you?
I have a name. It's a little bit surprising, considering he presently holds a title. Austin Theories. Austin Theories.
Austin Theories.
He needs it. He's dead in the water right now. I mean, they're trying to get him to feud, and he's going to take on Escobar and this and that, but he needs that rub. He lost a bit of momentum. I don't know if he would fit, like if he would fit the judgment day, but
that's not a bad. It's not a bad idea. Like that. He was in the Battle Royal too, the Slim Jim Battle Royal. Rather than defending his title, the United States Champion was in the Slim Jim Battle Royal. Since facing John Cena at WrestleMania and beating him, he hasn't done anything. You're really 100% right about that, Roy. He's just kind of existed. I think that he's pretty good on the microphone, but man, when the bell rings, he's not good. It's not that great.
He can't lead a match just yet. Like if he has a good partner, if he has a good competitor in the ring with him, I think he'll do well. But if you ask him to lead a young competitor like a Grayson Waller or whatever it is, no, that's not going to work.
So you think Roy's going to pull the trigger and put the U.S. title on Santos on next Friday?
It wouldn't surprise me. It looks like they're really trying to push, Santos Escobar, and maybe he could be the new Latin face, let's say, of the WWE with Ray getting up there in age. We could get a new U.S. champ. Who knows?
That would be, you say that, that's really an important demographic. I mean, the reason why Rey Mysterio's had such staying power is because he, obviously he really does speak well to that demographic, and that's why they relied on Rey Mysterio for years, and they've always been trying to build the next Rey Mysterio. When Santos Escobar debuted in NXT, that's back when I was recapping the show. I loved everything about that presentation. When he came in as El Phantasmo, they did like this cruiserweight tournament because Jordan Devlin or JD McDonough was overseas and he couldn't travel overseas during COVID, so they needed an interim champion. He became the interim champion, and it's Legado del Fantasma. And I was like, this guy's got superstar written all over him. Like, I still see it. Like there's a ton of potential there. He could if he I don't think that they're going to uncrown Austin Theory. But if there was a guy to do it, I think he'd be a good one.
Yeah, they could do worse. And now you got me thinking, because they're going to India in September. So they do something with Jinder Mahal.
He's with that Indus Sheer tag team, and they've moved him to thankfully they moved him to a managerial role. Yeah. He might be at the end of his rope.
But they gotta have an Indian. I don't mean that in a bad way, but they're going to India. They have to have a native there.
They could have Indus Sheer go against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Maybe they're giving Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens time to heal that rib injury. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Don't forget they also have Shanky. Is he still on the roster? Shanky?
I think he is.
Shanky? Come on.
I want to say he is.
Shanky. Triple threat match. Bianca. This was everything about this match was just off. Even the way they did the entrances. Charlotte Flair came out, then the champion, then Bianca Belair. I was like, I guess they're giving Bianca Belair a big entrance. They didn't do that. This match was atrocious, and most of it falls squarely on the shoulders of Charlotte Flair. They all tried to do some creative stuff with triple threat spots, and they all mistimed something. But Charlotte was really, really awful tonight. She was really off. This was the only match where I'm like, God, that was really bad. And the only reason that the entire thing was kind of salvaged and people won't be talking about how awful that match was is because of the cash-in. But if that cash-in doesn't happen, this is talked about as the worst match of the night easily. And I think with the main event, that triple threat and then following with the main event without the cash-in, people would be saying the last hour and a half of this show really sucked.
Yeah, no, I agree. It felt clunky. It was just a bad day at the office for her. And I don't know, you kind of have to feel for Asuka in a way. Every time she gets the belt, it's always like the focus is never necessarily on her.
You're right.
Maybe it's just me that feels that way.
No, you're 100% right. And what's weird is like Asuka kind of just randomly started doing this face paint thing. I know it connected with like people that have followed her career, but like they never really like leaned into it that much and like really talked about like what's the impetus behind this character change. I was a little disappointed in not a little, actually I was extremely disappointed in this run because I thought that I like Vince didn't understand Asuka. It was clear, they had her win the Royal Rumble in 2018. And she had this phenomenal match against Charlotte Flair where, she wound up submitting in a shocking moment and really a great WrestleMania moment. And then she kind of just like floated around the roster. She got big in 2020 when it was empty because she was just like screaming and Vince was like, oh, ha ha, foreigner screaming. I don't understand her language. I love this. This is great. Good stuff. Just keep screaming in Japanese. I don't even know. Say whatever you want. Curse in Japanese. They're not going to know. Who's going to know? Ha 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 ha. Like that's the only reason that she was even doing anything to begin with there. I thought that Triple H booked her so well in NXT that if he's given the book and he has control over like what's going to happen with her character, there'll be something there. There was no story behind the face paint ever told. There was no excitement about this title reign at all, and that's partly because Vince came back too, I think. Everything about it was just like super, super disappointing. And now that like Kairi Sane has been announced as like, she's close to a deal or she may have even potentially signed a deal. Are they just gonna do the Kabuki Warriors again and just kind of just do like the Japanese stereotype kind of thing? Because that would be a total waste for both of them. But it was a disappointing title run. I thought really disappointing use of Asuka. She was a non-factor in this match for the most part. The only thing that I really liked about the triple threat match was the progressive knee injury. Like Bianca Belair got dumped out right at the start of the match, and she came in limping. And it progressively got worse and worse until she took the big bump over the top rope. I thought she did a really good job, showing that her knee was getting worse and worse and really made the cash-in make much more sense. And she did a really great job with that sell. But my God, it just could not undo. Like Charlotte Flair has to stop doing a couple things right now. And it's a good thing that when she did them at WrestleMania, it didn't totally botch the match because she went from having, with Rhea Ripley, what I would say is easily, but hands down, the best women's match in WrestleMania history and one of the best women's matches in WWE history. Yeah, I know that there's better outside, so I'm saying WWE history. And then she took like a month off or two, and she came back, and she's been horrible. Everything she's done has been horrible. They built up that match with Asuka for like 3 weeks, right before Money in the Bank. They had the match. It was a train wreck. A train wreck. She has to stop doing natural selection right now. It's always been a horrible move, and every single time it's mistimed. Just if you're going to do it, literally just grab their head and go with them. Because these people are like, oh, she works so soft that she won't actually grab their heads to guide them down. I don't think grabbing, they're professionals. You can grab their head and drive them into the mat. They can figure out a way to protect themselves. But if you're going to leave it up to them to like try to figure out when your body's going to land, it's going to look like shit every single time. It looked like shit tonight. They did a double one. Bianca and Asuka totally screwed it up. She does this like cartwheel into a clothesline. Horrible. It's got to stop. The other move that she's got to stop doing, and I'm glad she didn't work it into the match tonight, is the Andrade spot where she goes for the moonsault, she lands in her feet, and then does a standing moonsault. It just does not look good. She's not good when she's trying to do too much stupid stuff.
Yeah.
She brought this match down, and I'm a big fan of Charlotte Flair. I keep saying she's one of the best women in wrestling today, but tonight and since she's come back after WrestleMania, she's been a disaster. She's got to wake up.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with her. I don't get it because obviously her heart was in it for WrestleMania, like you said, the best women's match in WrestleMania history. But since she came back, it's been very, very choppy. Let's put it that way. It hasn't her matches haven't been smooth. It's been kind of rough to watch, and unfortunately tonight was no different.
Yeah, but man, that cash in was really, really special, and a really great moment. I love that they brought Dakota Kai in
That was
to
nice.
celebrate with them. It felt like like sometimes they do things and it's like they kind of pause the storytelling to celebrate a real moment. And Io Sky, I mean, like you think about SummerSlam last year, Bailey hadn't been around in a million years because of the knee thing. Dakota Kai had been fired.
Yeah.
Io Shirai at the time had just disappeared and they totally dropped the ball on her and no one knew what was happening with NXT 2.0 and Io Shirai. They came back and Triple H had just gotten the book and created Damage Control. They were hot for a little while. They kind of dropped off, but they went through some highs. They went through some lows, and it culminated a year later at SummerSlam this year with Io Sky winning the women's championship. I thought that was that was a story that actually didn't get told tonight, and I thought that was a really awesome kind of bookend to their year journey in WWE. Jerome, what'd you think of the cash in?
I thought it was great. I really thought it was great. I don't know if they're going to have Damage Control for a little bit, be hot, and then maybe have Bailey and Dakota Kai turn on Io Sky. I don't know. I mean, I could see them doing some jealousy storyline where they all want to vie for the title and they do a breakup. I don't know. It'd be. I don't know where they're going to go with it. We'll have to see what direction they want to do with it. But yeah, I thought the cash-in was great. I thought the whole women's match was clunky and mistimed, and something is wrong with Charlotte. I don't know what's going on with her. I think her heart has not been into it, like Royce said. I think her mind's elsewhere, and with Bianca Belair going over the rope and hitting the steps, she sold that knee injury really, really well. I thought maybe it was a real injury, and then I thought when she was starting to walk, with help to the back, and then she hobbles her way back, I thought, this was a work, and she was doing a really good job selling that knee injury. And I thought maybe we were going to get a Bianca maybe heel turn. I was kind of thinking that was maybe going to happen, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with Charlotte. She just maybe needs another break.
Yeah, I personally I think that she's a little I think that she's mischaracterized. I think they have her as a face. I just don't think that's definitely not working for her character right now. Charlotte Flair does her best work as a heel. Whatever's going on with her, it's part of it is her character's not clicking, and part of it is just she's just not doing. She's just not good. It just is the case. I know that they were, when she went away, they said that she was going to do some bodybuilding thing. I don't know if she screwed up something with her body or she's having trouble. She put on some muscle mass or whatever it is, and she's having trouble adjusting to the changes in her body or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but something's going on. I don't know if it's physical. It might be mental, but it's just not good.
Yeah, something's off.
And Asuka look, Asuka was a dead duck champion, so that there was really no heat for the match throughout, and Bianca Belair has just kind of been stale. It was the right time when she lost the title, and I think she needed to take a step back from the title scene. But the women's roster is light. It's better than anything else in wrestling right now, but in terms of other women's divisions and other companies, but it's light in terms of who you can work with that's not for a title. Does that make sense?
I don't know why they put the title on Asuka to begin with anyway. I don't know why they, just give her the short run for what? I mean, it was pointless to me.
Well, yeah. To get it off Bianca, she was definitely getting stale, but they haven't done a good job of building her up since.
Yeah, and the fans are behind Io Sky. I mean, And so, I mean, I saw that at Backlash, and I saw that at SummerSlam. I mean, WrestleMania, and so, I mean, maybe she'll have a face. Maybe they'll book her as a face. I don't know. See.
Could be, and we'll see what happens there, but yeah, it just not good. They need some work. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Lufisto's looking for a job. Maybe they can get her. I don't know.
Yeah, she deleted all of her social media, so they're not going to be able to get a hold of her that way.
That's true. Oh God, what a situation! So stupid. The cash in was well done. Main event was kind of drippy. Overall, what would you say about SummerSlam? Like as the show was going on, up to like a certain point, I was like, this has a chance to be one of, if not the best SummerSlam of all time. It was like kind of shaping up that way. At the end of the night, where do you think this stacks up, Roy?
I would say up until maybe the last two matches, probably one of the best SummerSlams in recent memory, to be honest. The matches were good. We just spoke about it. It was just the triple threat and then the main event going for about an hour. But in general, they had something for everybody, as we said earlier. Even the commentary, the matches, the spots, it was good. It was solid. Easily one of the best of recent times, at least.
Yeah, I think that's slam dunk. I thought last year's SummerSlam was pretty damn good too, and that Brock Reigns match was very good.
Cool.
But I actually think at the end of the day, I think last year's SummerSlam was still better than this one. Jerome, what do you say about this SummerSlam?
Yeah, I thought this was a really good SummerSlam. It's been one of the better ones from years past. I just didn't like the finish of the Reigns Jey Uso match, but it was expected. And I honestly didn't care much for that Slim Jim Battle Royal. I mean, LA Knight's over, and I thought it was a pointless way to put him over. And yeah, that was kind of my bathroom break match. I did pay attention to it, but I did get up and do a few things while it was going on.
Right. As the show was going on, I was like, wow, they built this card really well. I thought, Gunther McIntyre was just a damn good match, regardless of, how I felt, of the finish and everything. But yeah, the women's match definitely brought it down for me. The cash-in saved it, but I can live with the ending to the Roman Reigns match. I can totally live with it if you don't go 36 minutes.
Yeah.
If it was a 20-minute match, I can live with it. It just was so long, and then with the entrances, and then 5 minutes of post-match stuff of Paul Heyman saying there's no other tribal chiefs but you and this and that. It was nearly an hour straight of Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso when all was said and done, and that for something that was so utterly predictable of Jimmy Uso coming out and costing Jey the match. That brought it down for me. It's to me, SummerSlam 2002 is still the best SummerSlam of all time.
That was a good one.
That was a really good
one.
That 2000 was actually really good too, I thought. But
yeah.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, Undertaker versus Undertaker. No, that sucked. Luger versus Yokozuna. Nope, that sucked. The Macho Man Elizabeth thing was pretty good.
Yeah. 92 Wembley. You had a good main event.
92 Wembley. I remember that.
One match show.
That's it. Yeah, you had a good main event.
Yeah.
You had the ladder match, Razor Shawn, a couple of years later.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Not as good as WrestleMania 10, I thought, because you know why? Because the USA executives were in the audience and they weren't allowed to hit each other with ladders. But actually, it was really good in the fact that they had to be really creative with their ladder spots at that point, then too. A little trivia for you.
There you go.
That's what I did.
You learn something new every day.
Highway to Hell was actually a really good one too. 1998.
Yeah. That was MSG, wasn't it?
That was MSG. Although then you had Undertaker and Brock Lesnar 2015. That was a good SummerSlam too. SummerSlam 2014 was really good with Brock and John Cena. That was a really I don't know. There's been a lot of good SummerSlams. This doesn't. I don't know if it's even in the top 10, but it might be number 11. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It got brought down because of just how long everything went at the end. My God, it was too long. Well, anyway, we're gonna pause it right here so we don't go too long as well. We're at an hour and a half here, so we like to make our pay-per-view shows a sweet spot there. Thank you everybody so much for joining us. It's been a while since we've been able to do one of these things because, last month I was traveling for Money in the Bank. I didn't get to do Money in the Bank. It was in the middle of the freaking day when it happened as well. And the pay-per-view before that was Night of Champions. That was in the middle of the day again, so that's really difficult to do. So the last regular show I think we did was Backlash. I think we did Backlash, and we'll be back for Payback in Pittsburgh. I'm going to try to wrestle Victoria again and get us back for Post Raw and doing those a little more consistently again, because I certainly missed doing those shows and I really enjoyed it. But having that second kid, man, it's tough. It's really, really tough.
All priorities, right?
Yes.
Yep. I get it. I've been there, done that. But my kids are, they're 16 and 19, so I'm past that stage now.
Yeah. There's something about Liliana loves the baby so much. She's crazy about the baby, but my mother, when I was a teenager, she got this little Shih Tzu, and he was a really sweet dog. And my brother loved the dog, loved him. Like, he was crazy about the dog. But Mark also had this thing where he also kind of liked to tease him a little bit too. So he would take the dog and put him against the wall and give him kisses, he kiss him on the drive his head into him and stuff like that. Didn't hurt, not hurting him, but just irritating the dog. So it got to the point where anytime Mark would enter a room, the dog would try to go for his ankles. And Mark loved this dog, and he really wanted. Liliana's the same way. She's like, with the baby, she's like, "Oh, you're so sweet," but then she gets this close to her face, and so now every time Liliana approaches Emmeline screams. So, one of those things. It's like, man, it's definitely different having a baby with a toddler in the house. It's way different now.
Yeah,
it's not always easy.
Not for the faint of heart, but anyway, we're making do with it. And you know what? At the end of the day, we love talking about wrestling, so we're gonna get back to doing Post Raw. I love talking about wrestling with you guys. I needed some just normalcy in my life. The last 2 days has been just rough. My grandmother passed away. We're doing I took the responsibility of making every single arrangement. So it's been just very stressful. I never had to do something like this before. So I just, if I can just talk about wrestling and have some fun, this is exactly what I needed. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking with us. And we will see you down the road. I think Payback is September 2nd.
September 2nd. Saturday, September 2nd.
All right. We'll see you then, everybody. Until then, I'm Mike Tedesco.
Ryan Emmer. Have a good one, everybody.
That's Jerome Wyland down there. Take care, everybody.